Hi, Jennifer Bardot here. I am your host as we will be talking about grit. And what does grit stand for? Growth, resilience, intention, tenacity, which leads me to introducing my next guest, Kimberly, who is a contributing author in Intention. So I'm excited to have you here today. So for those that don't know you, who is Kimberly?
Thank you first. Thank you so much for having me on today. I was really excited about this interview. Who is Kimberly? I am a mindset coach, and my passion is really helping entrepreneurs who are feeling like off. The things back here that you don't think about, and they're just feeling off and out of alignment, and really not intentional with what they want to do in their life or in their business, whatever that may be.
So you work in the field of being intentional and supporting those entrepreneurs. How did you lead to the work that you do today?
So interesting question. A lot of this and a lot of my chapter goes into my backstory and how unintentional I was growing up and really even into my business and career because of I had a lot of obstacles growing up. I grew up in a home where my parents were really young and my dad was verbally abusive. So it was tough. And I talked a lot about some of that in my chapter and how that affected me. And it created a lot of subconscious filters. And I saw myself as not good enough and not worthy. And all of these things kept coming in. And it really affected my ability to do my business. And my life, my relationships were affected a lot too. And I really, because I was able to work through that, I know there's a lot of other people that have maybe not that same upbringing because we all have those filters. We all have those voices.
Yes.
And I like helping people shift through those.
So when was it your tipping point that you began starting to lead with intention and to know all the side noise and this negative self-talk wasn't who you were and you were enough?
Mm-hmm. It was a long process. So the very first time I became aware of it, I remember going to a seminar that was similar to the work that I do now. And it was just a huge wake-up call. I was an entrepreneur at the time. I found it I feel like that was a God thing, the way I ran across it, and I went by myself, and I remember sitting in the audience and just feeling like the speaker was speaking to me, and it was a wake-up call to how my words, how the way I grew up, and all of the things had affected literally all my behaviors. And that was really hard, but that was my wake-up call. So I'm really grateful, but it was a number of years before it really sunk in and I was able to do that internal healing, really.
And thank goodness for that wake-up call because you're a change maker and you've changed so many lives to allow them to learn how to think intentionally and learn that they are enough. So grateful that speaker, really spoke to you and helped you change your life. So as you were authoring your chapter in Intention, what did you learn about yourself?
Gosh, so much. This was healing for me. So one thing I want to say is that you're never finished.
Yeah.
You're never finished doing that internal work. And I have recently, there's so much irony that you messaged me about doing this chapter because I felt really off, even recently, with being intentional. And I was getting really wrapped up in what are other coaches doing and what are other people doing to be successful and all of those things. And it was all coming to, like, all of the dots were connecting when you messaged me. So when I wrote my chapter, biggest thing that I learned was that we're still all learning. We're all, it's all a work in progress. So it's those obstacles that we have that are also the thing that helps us grow the most. They're our biggest source of growth.
Absolutely. And I think every time we tell our story, we heal a little bit more. So I love that you hinted the fact that you were even starting to question your own back and looking for outside validation. And then you had to do a little bit of self-reflection to realize that you are doing the right things. And you're still evolving yourself, which is, I think, essential to life to truly empower us to grow and learn more about ourselves and what fills our cup. So what is next for you?
I'm so excited about just all the things that have been evolving. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a crossroads also in my business because this is the year, later in the year, whenever probably fall,
Yeah.
I'll be introducing retreats in my business and being able to bring entrepreneurs together in one place, somewhere beautiful, probably a beach, where we can really work on what those internal filters are and helping them shift those all in one weekend. That's my vision.
Beautiful.
That's my vision.
I love all the things that you do. I was a guest on your podcast. So if you haven't checked out her podcast, make sure you visit her podcast. And now you're kicking off retreats and it's just inspiring. So where does all of this passion and this constant growth and next level mindset come from? Do you have family members that were entrepreneurs, or did you have a role model that really, was someone that you attribute becoming?
I would say, so growing up, my parents were both entrepreneurial. My dad was a farmer. That is where I got a lot of hard work ethic. My mom was always entrepreneurial, and she's always been a powerhouse woman. She's been I've always admired her work. She really built herself from the ground up. So that was probably the main character as far as role models go. But along the way, I've really been blessed. I've had so many people along the way that have helped me. And I tend to, I say stumble upon the right things, but we all know that that's not it. And I just truly believe and know now that the more you slow down and the more you just kind of step in instead of rushing like we are so programmed to do, the better off you'll be and the more intentional you can be.
I call it always listening to like God's whispers, when you can slow down and really be intentional and just knowing what's next and how to be guided. So what are some of the mantras or the quotes that you live by?
Mantras and quotes, they change.
Yeah,
they do. They change. They change so much. I practice gratitude every day. I journal. I love nature. I have found that I get grounded more quickly when I get myself out in nature and just breathe or walk through the grass or go for a walk or anything like that. And yeah, the mantras change. They really do. They change almost daily, depending on what I need. I really do breathe into what is it that I need today? What's the thing that's going to help me the most today? So I try and be intentional every day about that.
But it sounds like all the theme is you're very grounded in the moment and constantly listening to what you need. And it's not always the same. It's always different and evolving. So is there anything else that you would like to share with us today?
I would like to share with the audience to don't give up working on yourself, and keep going with that, because it's so worth it when you're on the other side of it. And then there's always more.
Exactly.
Know that there's always more.
That's awesome. And it's so true. You're constantly in evolution of self. I was thinking of back when I first stepped into this book, I didn't have the courage they have now. Here we are up on a stage, but you think back just to the evolution of the steps, and it's usually gradual, but there's always the next step, and we're always growing.
Yeah. With clients, I refer to it as the onion, because, just like if you've ever watched Shrek.
Yeah, exactly.
All onion, lots of layers. There's lots of layers. And even sometimes I get surprised in myself that something that I thought I resolved.
Right.
Thought I resolved, and then, there it is again. There it is again. It's another layer. So we are always works in progress.
Well, I love that. And thank you so much for spending your time with us today. And where can they find you?
KimberlyLebbing.com is probably the easiest place. And of course, I'm on all the socials.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.